Hello everyone, today we are going to study synonyms and we are going to look at some of the important questions. Now this is a very important topic that you must learn and understand about from the perspective of CAT, because while reading comprehensions or other parts of the verbal section of CAT, you must know the meaning of the word in order to understand and solve those questions. Great. Now let's move on with the questions. So first let's look at the directions. So it states select the word having the same meaning as the given word. This means that we have to look for synonyms. Okay. So the first word we have here is vituperation. This is pronounced as vituperation. Now what does this word means? Okay. Now vituperation means bitter and abusive language. Okay, so vituperation means bitter and abusive language. Now we know that moisture does not mean that. Moisture means that something that has some form of water content inside of it. So this is not our answer. Now we know that parallel means some lines or something that will not touch each other for a very long period of time. Therefore parallel is not the answer either. Now when we talk about recover for option D, recover always means that we are moving towards the normal state of that particular thing or person. So that is called recover, and therefore option D is also not the answer. But here if we know the meaning of the word vituperation, we would be able to easily understand that which option suits us best. Why? Because we understood in the vocabulary section that we must look for the root if we can find it. And here the root of the word is mal. Now we know that with the root word mal, we can make a lot of words like malevolent or malevolence. And all of these have a negative connotation attached to it. So here malediction means, so malediction, we know if we talk about the dictionary definition, it would mean a magical word or a phrase uttered with the intention of bringing about evil or a curse. So we can say that this means a curse or something evil. Now we know that bitter and abusive language is fundamentally either a curse or evil. So therefore the word that has the same meaning as vituperation is malediction. Great. Now let's move on with our second point. So second word we have for today is repeal. The word is repeal. Now repeal as a word means revoke or annul. So when we talk about annul, we are talking from the perspective of the law. Okay. So repeal obviously means always revoke or annul if you are talking from the perspective of the law. Now let's look at our options. So here our first option is sharp. Now we know that sharp cannot be the answer if we know the meaning of the word repeal. Now sharp is not the answer. Why? Because sharp generally means pointy or edgy, or we can also call sharp as, critical, as a critical explanation. So critical can also be an answer, or smart at times. We know sometimes we say that someone is really sharp. So we also can use as the synonym for smart, but it is not a synonym of repeal. What about applaud? Applaud is a very basic word that you must have heard in your daily life. Applaud is basically to show approval or show praise, precisely. To show praise. Therefore option B is not the answer either. What about acceptance? Acceptance as a word means an action of consent, right? So this is accepting. Now therefore this is also not the right answer. While option D, abrogation means, so abrogation basically means to repeal. So you see, if I talk about abrogation, if I look at for a dictionary synonym, the answer will come repeal. Therefore the answer to the repeal as a synonym is abrogation. But the question is, what does abrogation in itself means? Abrogation in itself means abolition. Abrogation means abolition, and oftentimes of a law, right, or an agreement. Therefore repeal and abrogation are actually synonyms. Therefore our answer is option D. So at first word we had the option C as our answer. In the second word, option D is our answer. Now let's look at the third word. It states the word is foreclose. Now let's try to divide the word first, okay? So the first part is for and the second part is close. Now when we use the word close, it seems like that we are talking about something that we are closing. Okay, so we are closing something. So now if we just understand this part and we are doing this question in the CAT examination, we would clearly go and go for the option A, shut out, because this sounds similar to closing, right? And that will be the right answer. But the question is, and the point of this video is to understand the meaning of each word properly. So here close does mean closing, but what we are talking about will define in the for part. So now foreclose is basically a word which is used when we are taking possession of a mortgage property when the person fails to keep up with their mortgage payments. So what we are doing, we are actually taking possession, okay, when a person fails to pay their mortgage payments. Got it? Now this means that shut out will be the clearest and the most common answer for foreclose. Why? Because this means very similar, because shut out also means preventing or closing. So it means either preventing or closing, which is similar to the word foreclose. Because if I talk about other words, you see how vastly different they are. Nearby basically means something that's close, in terms of direction. So close or not so far, so that no one gets confused. Indicate is basically pointing towards something. And if you talk about liberty, this means being free. Therefore our answer is shut out. So what is the synonym for foreclose from the options we have? Option A, shut out. Great. Now let's talk about our word fourth, which is quell. So the word is quell. Okay. Now what do we understand by quell? See, quell is basically, this is a feeling of uneasiness. Okay, so it's a feeling of uneasiness, and you can also call it a feeling of doubt. So you can also call it a fear, or a feeling of doubt, or you can call it fear, anything like that. Okay. So now we have to find the word which means similar to the feeling of uneasiness, doubt, or fear. Okay. Let's look at our options. So the first is concavity. Now concavity as a word is not really about the feeling of anything. It's about the shape of a structure of a surface. So when any surface is in the form of this, it has a concave shape, then we call it that, then we say that that particular structure has concavity inside of it. Therefore option A is not the answer. Especially concave and concavity type of words are generally used when we are talking about lenses. The glasses that we wear, so the lenses, in that part concavity is used very often. What about amplitude? Now amplitude as a word means sound, generally at a very high volume. And what about repute? Repute as a word says that this is repute means opinion. Okay, so it means opinion per se, which is held by someone or something. So this is opinion of someone or something. Or we can also use reputation in its place, which is a synonym of repute. What about misgiving? Misgiving here will be our right answer. And what does misgiving means? It is a feeling of doubt. So this is a feeling of doubt. Great. Therefore our correct answer is option C. Great. Now let's move on to our question number 5, our word 5, which is controversial. Now you see the word here is very easy, and I'm sure you must have heard the word controversial a lot, right? And sometimes CAT will give you easy questions to solve, right? They will not be always very hard questions or very hard words. Sometimes the question will be easy, but then you have to understand how the options are given. Now in this case, all the options are also very easy. So I'm going to stand here and just wait till you solve this question on your own. So you can just pause the video and solve this question on your own, the fifth one, and then we will begin with it. Great. Now I hope that all of you have already got the answer to this. It's very easy and you don't really need to know the meaning of all the words in order to solve this question. Okay. So controversial, we know it means that something that is disputed, right? So something that is disputed and often publicly, right? Because we say that's a controversial public opinion, right? So publicly is also important because most of the time something which is controversial, it's publicly controversial. Now we know what does pulse mean, right? Pulse is nothing but just a rhythmic beat, like a heartbeat. So this cannot be the answer. What about record? Now we know that record as a word means it's a piece of evidence from the past. Okay, so record means that you are keeping a record of something. So it's basically a piece of evidence from the past. So it relates to past evidence basically. So even again, not even close to what we are talking about. And integrity as a word again means it means being honest or someone who is of very strong and high principles. Okay, so strong principles in someone. So strong principles. Okay, sorry. So yes, strong principles. Great. Now you know that I crossed the option A because that was not right and I knew what the meaning of pulse was. This was just rhythmic beats. Let's write it down for convenience. Rhythmic beats. Okay. Now that I know that A is wrong. And then I said record is also wrong because record is also very easy word to understand. It means past evidence. So option C is also wrong. Now option D is also wrong because it means strong principles or honesty, integrity. But I do not know anything about option B. Now even though I do not know the meaning of the word polemic, but I can still be able to understand that this will be my right answer because all the other options are wrong. So I use the deduction method here. Okay, so great. So here the answer is option D, polemic. But for the sake of the video, I will tell you that what is the meaning of this word is. Now this is basically a strong verbal attack on someone or something. So it's a strong verbal attack. Got it? And we also know that controversial things are also most verbally said out in public or something like that. Therefore polemic will be the right synonym for controversial. Great. Now let's look at the next question. In the next question, the word is elation. Okay, elation. Now elation is once again a very easy word to understand if you know that elation is just a word which is derived from elated. So right now we know that elated is a very common word and this means happiness and joy. Now we get the clear synonym of elation from the options, that is option A, happiness. And once again, if you see the other options, you will see that poverty means generally very poor state, and we are talking here in financially. What about parsimony? Parsimony is someone who is is a miser. That's why we use the word parsimony. When we are talking about someone who is very, frugal about his resource, spending his resources at any point of time. So that person is a miser. That's when we use the word parsimony. Naturalize, we use the word. See, naturalize is a very interesting word and you must understand. It has nothing to do with nature, if you think, or it's nothing to do with the word natural, okay? It's a different word altogether. So understand this because it might come in exam in some form or the other. So naturalize as a word means to admit someone, especially a foreigner, to the citizenship of a country. So admit someone to the citizenship, of the country. So you see how tricky of a word naturalize actually is, but we just put it lightly here in the word of poverty, parsimony, happiness, and it doesn't mean anything related to the word elation, but it is a very important word from the perspective of examination. Okay, great. Now let's get to the next question. Question number 7. So for question number 7, we have here the word apportionment. So the word is apportionment. Okay. Now what does the word apportionment means? So apportionment means to share or divide up. So this means when we are sharing something, we are dividing up something. Let's assume that there is a pie and we are dividing up between different people. So what we are doing apportionment. So we are giving a portion of that to other people. So we are sharing. That's what apportionment means. And if you understand the word, I know that the answer is also very easy to understand, which is option A, coexist. Why? Because all the other words mean very, very different things. Now, period generally means a length of time. That's what a period is. Appoint is basically to assign. When we assign someone something, we appoint someone for something. Dispensation as a word means exemption from a rule or usual requirement. So dispensation means exemption from a rule. Okay, now once again, this is a very important word, dispensation. And why is that? Because dispensation can be easily misunderstood for so many other words, right? But dispensation in itself means exemption from a rule. Okay, so which is actually usually required for everyone else. So it's a very important word and you must know the meaning of this so you do not make mistakes in the main examination. While coexist is once again a very easy word, which means to exist peacefully at most of the times at the same time. So exist at the same time and place also. So and same time and place. That is coexist for you. Great. Now what about word number 8? So here the word is want. So the word is want. So you see the pronunciation is like W-A-N-T, but the spelling we write is V-A-U-N-T, want. Okay. Now what does want means? Want means to boast or praise something. But you see, when we talk about want, we are actually seeing that someone or something is being praised or boasted excessively. So it's being boasted or praised excessively. Great. Now, understanding the meaning, now I'm sure that the answer is very easy for all of us. Lack, no, because lack does not mean to boast or praise something. Lack means the state of being without something. What about the word resign? Resign means voluntarily leaving yourself from a position or a situation. Anything could be when you voluntarily leave, basically, that is resign. So that's not the answer either. What about sufferance? Sufferance once again comes out to be a very, very important word from the examination point of view, because sufferance means the absence of objection rather than genuine approval. So what sufferance means? Absence of objection, right? So when you are doing something or something which is not being objected, but there is also not a genuine approval of that particular thing, right? Now that is the word sufferance. You can also call it toleration. So sufferance can also be a synonym for toleration. But here the question is, what is the synonym for want? And the synonym for want is boast. The synonym for want is boast, which is basically an act of talking with excessive pride. Okay, so here the correct answer is option D, boast. Now let's look at our word number 9, which is equivocal. Now equivocal is once again a beautiful word. Okay, so equivocal as a word means open to more than one interpretation. Open to more than one interpretation. Got it? Great. Now if you understand this, you know that if you talk about all the other options, so see, let's look at the options here one by one because they are very interesting. Let's look at from the part D, fall apart. Now fall apart generally means break up. When something is breaking up, we say that it is falling apart, right? What about the option C, actual? Now actual basically means it's existing in a fact, existing in a fact or real. So when we say it's actually true, it's actual, this means that we are pointing out a particular part of it, okay, that it's actual and it states it's true. So we are not opening it to more than one interpretation because it's a fact, and facts are not disputed, facts are agreed upon. Okay, now what about option B, resistance? Resistance means refusal. It's refusal to accept something. It means refusal to accept something. So someone who is resistant, they will never be open to more than one interpretation. Therefore resistance is also wrong. What about questionable? Now questionable means doubtful. Okay, so questionable means doubtful as regards to truth. Now someone who is doubtful towards the truth will be open to more than one interpretation. So someone who is questionable will also be equivocal. Therefore the synonym for equivocal is questionable. So here the right answer is option A. What about option D, which is the word fitted? So here the word is fitted or fitted, whatever you would like to call it. So here the word in itself means something that smells extremely unpleasant. Okay, so something that smells extremely unpleasant is fetid. Now understanding the meaning of the word, after that I'm sure that answering this question is not rocket science, because we clearly have option C, which is stinking, which also means foul smelling. So anytime something smells very bad, we say that that stinks or that is stinking. This means that it is fetid. While understanding all the other words, comical obviously always means, amusing, we could call it, or very jokingly, or we can call it ludicrous, so we can also call it ludicrous. So there are so many other words for comical, but I would say that comical is actually an easy word to understand on its own. What about the word regular? I think regular is also very easy to understand because regular means constant. What about ornament? Now see, ornament is a very interesting word, okay? Because ornament means a thing which is used to make something look more attractive but usually have no practical purpose. So this has no practical purpose, but it is used to make something look attractive. Got it? So anything which is used to make something look attractive but has no practical purpose in itself, that is an ornament. Okay, so that is again a very interesting word and can come up in your reading comprehensions in CAT examination. Great. Now with this we come to the end of this video, and I'm sure that you understood all the 40 words very clearly, and this has not only built your vocab but has also helped you in understanding how to go about synonym questions. Now with this we end this video, and I would highly recommend to go and attempt the test which is available on the EduRev platform, and also check out the documents where we have listed a lot of synonyms words for you to learn and understand as you go about it. With this, thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope you have a happy learning with EduRev.